Hi, okay. Welcome to the HTML CSS class. I should have brought like a little pointer or something. So this is where I explain my background with things. So this class is mostly for fun. Basically, I just want to try my hand at like showing something. And maybe you'll learn something in the process, but I'm just trying to have fun. Anyway, so yeah, my programming experience is extremely basic. So the thing that I have used HTML CSS for is to code my Twitch alerts. You guys may have seen it when somebody followed me on Twitch. Hey, if one of you has a Twitch account, somebody follow me on there right now so that you can see what I've done. So, but whenever somebody follows or subscribes or raids, like there's this little box up there that pops up and says somebody followed or somebody raided. That's like the most notable thing I've ever coded. I do have a website, but I made it on Card, which is like one of those website builder thingies that doesn't really need much like coding. So yeah, that's my coding experience. What is this HTML thing? What is this CSS thing? As you can see, HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It's used for web programming. It can be used for other things, but mostly web programming is its main use. And it defines the structure of a web page, like links and text and pictures and all of that jazz. That's basically how you input stuff. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. It's used alongside HTML and it defines the appearance of the HTML coded web page. There's also like JavaScript, but we're not gonna get into that right now. We're probably not gonna get into that for a long time. JavaScript is scary. Anyway, so you imagine building a house. HTML is like the bricks and CSS is like the paint. Or for this PowerPoint, HTML is the text I'm putting here, and CSS is like the fonts and shapes and stuff that I'm using to make this PowerPoint look pretty. This is my extremely simplified explanation of what these programming languages are. There's probably like more detailed explanations you could find, but I think that going simple first will be crucial to understanding this. HTML is like the web and CSS is art for the web, something like that, yeah? Anyway, next. So why are we learning these languages? Why can't we learn other languages like, I don't know, Python or C++? First of all, because they're simple, accessible, and easy to learn. Like, they tend to be pretty straightforward because they tend to just be like, okay, put this thing and then make the other thing look like the thing. Yeah? You know what you're doing, unlike other filthy languages. Yeah, I had a class on Python and I nearly failed it. Anyway, despite their simplistic nature, they're versatile and have vast capabilities in web programming. So yeah, they're easy, but you can do a lot with them. You could make like little games with them. Although I think if you were to try to do something a bit more complex, you'd probably need JavaScript. But even without JavaScript, you can make something pretty cool. Yeah, they're very simple. So like HTML, you just put the stuff, and then CSS, you just make the whole thing look pretty, and then boom, you're done. You've got a decent, serviceable website. Basically, if you've ever been on the internet before 2009, that's how most of the websites were made. If you've ever seen like somebody's like, you know, niche website about the history of rock and roll or the history of dinosaurs, then it's probably made with something like that. With web hosting services, they'll allow you to create your own custom online space for whatever you need. So you know, if you're tired of social media, because you can't really customize social media pages that much. You can have like your profile picture and your banner, but you don't really have, it doesn't really open up to much customization besides that. So yeah, having your own website allows for more customization. And the last one, retro stuff is super cool, and this stuff is retro now. You guys feel old? Do you feel your legs creaking? Do you feel your kneecaps breaking? Do you feel? Yeah, like I said, this is one of the more easy and accessible ways to make websites pre-2009. Oh yeah, that's where we're at right now. Nah, it's still young. It's only 10 years old for HTML5. Okay, whatever you say, Grandpa. Just kidding. I'm an auntie too. Alright, so let's start with HTML. So HTML code is made up of two different things. Elements determine how content is displayed on an HTML page. Basically, it's like something like this. Tags, which are these like little brackety things, they define the start and the end of an element and the purpose of an element. So basically, like the one with the little slash thing is at the end, and the one without it is the beginning. Some programs like CodePen, which we will use later, automatically add that stuff for you. Anyway, next, so HTML is the root element. Basically, like HTML code will start and end with HTML. Head shows data about the page. It won't show up on your actual page. So the title will show up on the browser tab. So if you put like say web page up there, it will say web page. I know it doesn't say web page in the picture, but if you do it, then it will, okay? Trust me, bro. And if you put style tags up here, it'll hold the CSS that's used in the page. Alternatively, you could use a link tag, which I won't explain too much, to import a separate CSS file. This is like if you're getting into some pretty complex stuff. Okay, body is the visible part of the page. So header from H1 to H6. I just thought about something like if you put like 3 headers, you can call them header, header, header. And someone. Any musical theater people here? Okay, and then P, which means paragraph text and elements, and then BR stands for a paragraph break, because HTML doesn't apply like line breaks if you use enter, so you need to apply them manually yourself with BR. And then image source displays a link photo. You can either use a picture file that you have, or a picture or the link to a picture, like you could use an image hosting service online. And then this one, href. That's the hyperlink tag. So you put hyperlink there and it ends with A. I should note that the image tag doesn't have any ending. You just put it there. BR doesn't have an ending either. You just put BR and then that's it. So the hyperlink tag ends with A, with /A. Alright, next. So, yeah, you see this big block here? I'll explain what block and inline elements are. So, a block element starts on a new line and stretches to max width. And an inline element stays on the line and only takes up the space between the tags. Wait, let me, I don't know how to demonstrate this. So now that I've explained that, div, you can use it to section out multiple elements into a block selection. And span is for inline selections. So basically, the most basic use for div is to create like sections on your website. And the most basic use for span is to create like, to edit like parts of text. Anyway, so class is how you would tag multiple elements. So if you put class on something, like say, class 1, and then all elements with class 1 will adapt the CSS code that we have. And then ID will allow you to tag unique elements. ID is like the stuff that is tagged within ID will override the stuff that is tagged with class. So yeah, use it carefully. And then style, you can actually put style elements within the text so that you can add CSS elements to it. So yeah, you don't need it if the CSS is in its own file. Okay, so here is some not so basic HTML tags. So a button, so you use the button tag to make a cool button. It looks something like this thing, this example over here. This is one that I actually made. Okay, HR, it makes a divider that's used for sectioning pages. Block quote shows an indented quote. So if you want the quote to appear like, so if you want to quote something and have it appear indented from everything else, you can use the block quote tag. And then you have the list tags, which you can use to make different two types of lists, unordered or ordered, and then LI is what you use to tag the list items. Here is an example of the code with lists on the right. And then table, and then you have the table tags, which you can use. Respectively, they're just to designate the table, a row, a header, and like other table content. And then comment. The comment is just like for, you know, comment. You put the stuff there that you don't want anybody to see. You can put notes, you can hide sections that you want to try out but you're not quite sure about yet. You can put reminders like, oh, I'll code this later. You can start screaming into the void if the coding is hurting your brain too much, like Like, I think every programming language has this, like, comment feature. The most common use for comments is if you're working with multiple people and you want to tell the people you work with, hey, can you, like, add this to that and this? Alright, we're moving on to CSS now. CSS is basically how you make the text look nice. You can either implement it with an external file in the same folder. So here I have, like, a screenshot of CodePen, which is like a code reader app. So here's the HTML file with some text, and here's the CSS file, which shows how the text will be displayed. So yeah, it looks kind of weird, but it's just for demonstration. Or you can also put CSS within the HTML file itself in a style tag. So you can put, like, you know, element style equals blah 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 yada yada, and then add that stuff in. So yeah, that's how. So here's an example where you do pretty much the same element. Alright, so CSS code has two parts, which is the HTML element the style will apply to. Like, you can designate classes, you can designate, like, elements like H1 or P or stuff like that. And the declaration, which are the visual elements that you will apply contained in the curly brackets. So yeah, this is basically the format, selection, declaration, value. So if you want to make the text in a paragraph blue, so you put P and then the brackets color blue, and then the text will become blue. Wow, fantastic. Although probably not this exact shade of blue, because I'll discuss this later. Okay, better stop getting ahead of myself. So the previously discussed HTML elements, you know, the paragraphs and headers that I explained earlier, they have their own innate CSS values, which can be edited. So if you want to, like, I'm only putting this out there because if you run into some issues with formatting, like, I'm somebody, like, you know, I'm an artist. I want to be super, like, particular about how everything is displayed. Like, I got annoyed with this before, and then I learned this, like, while making, like, my demo website. So you can view them on, like, this link over there. I'll probably add some links to the description. Anyway, next. So, first, before we get into, like, CSS tags, let's discuss the box model first. So the box model is the order in which certain elements wrap around content. So here's my demo site. So your content is gonna be, like, your text and images, like the stuff I've put over here. Padding will be the space between your content and your outer edge. So it's designated by the pink here. Wow, isn't that pretty? So if you put padding, like, X number of pixels, then it's going to look like that. And then the border is the outermost edge of your, like, content and padding. It's this dark purple line over here. There's another thing called the outline, which is another line outside the border. You can use it to make something nice, but it won't be counted with your overall dimensions. So you might have to work around it a bit. Like, you might see some hint of shadow, and that shadow won't be calculated with the outline. You need to, I needed to expand it quite a bit so that it would be shown. And the margin is the space between, like, everything inside and then everything else outside. So if you put a margin, then it's the space between, like, your content and then everything outside your content. Got it? Good. So colors, you can set them with color names. So there's a list of CSS color names. You could probably find lists of them. RGBA values, which looks like this, and hex codes. These all result in the same color, by the way. And then there's another element called opacity, which adjusts the opacity for each element. But you can also adjust the opacity of individual parts with RGBA values. So if you want to adjust, like, the text color, the text opacity, but not the background opacity, you might want to set your text color with RGBA. And then for backgrounds, you can, with the color thing that I mentioned earlier, you can set the background color with the tag background color. Or you can use background image, and then you can link a file and then set that as your background image. Speaking of background images, I have an extra gift for you guys. So if you, on my Ko-fi page, I posted 2 pixel backgrounds that you could use if you want to make something. I'll put a link in the description later. Okay, so text, here are some tags you can use to edit the text. So the tag color is used to edit the text color specifically. So yeah, just keep a note of that. You might get confused between color and background color. You can also set background color for individual blocks of text to make, like, a highlighted text effect. That's what you use, like, span tags for. Okay, so text align will set text you know, it's exactly what it says. You set text alignment, left, right, center, justify. So, text decoration will add underline, overline, line through, or set to none to remove lines from links. Like text decoration line will add like the lines and stuff. There's no line over overline because I couldn't find the setting for it in Canva. And text shadow will apply shadow to your text. Yeah. So you can put like number values in this order for vertical offset, horizontal offset, blur, and color. So yeah, font. Some text settings are under like font tags instead of text tags. So I thought I might just cover it like this. So font family will, you know, pick between like these font names from default or imported fonts. So there are like fonts like Arial, Helvetica that you can use, or you can import fonts, which we will discuss later. Font style, it's like how you set your text to italic. And font weight, which is like how you set your text to bold, and this will change your font display. So if you want to make so you put font weight bold or font weight like in pixel value, and then font size, you change your font size. You can enter pixel values for that as well. So here on the side, I put some web safe fonts. Honestly, this is a picture I found online. There's probably more. You can probably find some resources for this. And coming up soon, I will show you how to use Google Fonts on your site if you want more fonts than just the default. Welcome to how to use Google Fonts on your site. So you go to fonts.google.com and then you choose your fonts. Like if you go there, there's like some filters for what kinds of text that you'd like. So you just choose from there. And then if you're done, you click get font and then click get embed code. Like up there and then over there. So once you click, get embed code, you'll get these. Copy and paste the links to your HTML file. Or you can use the import stuff to paste them into your CSS file. So link is for HTML, import is for CSS. And then you set the font that you want through the font family command. So for example, this font that I'm using for the body text is, so I would put font family, TT Lakes new, and then semicolon. Enjoy your new fonts! Yay! So this is more of a design tip than anything, but it's best to choose two fonts. So you choose one font for titles and decorative elements, and one font for plain text. So for example, on this PowerPoint, up here is like the font I have for the title, and over here is the font I have for everything else. It adds some separation. If you want to add like a third font, then go ahead, but like it's just easier to use two. Yeah, that's more of a design tip, but the more you know. So now that we've learned all that, I know you weren't hoping for a test, but here's a Q&A. So let's review. Here are 5 questions, and let's see if you can give answers. Yeah, here are some resources that I used. Here are some sites that you can use and some sites that I have used in the making of this. And if you for any sort of reason, if you make something, you can post it to my YouTube community page, or you can post it under my Twitter hashtag, because I have one of those. Yeah. So I'll demo the creation of a sample web page. You will create a sample landing web page or online card. I'll recommend using CodePen or some other HTML viewer. So here is my web page. Notepad is cool, but basically the thing that I want is the thing that shows you how it looks on the side. Being an artist, I'm more of a visual person, so I need to see what I'm doing. And yeah, stuff like CodePen. I think like Visual Studio something also lets you see like what you're doing. I forgot the name of the program, but it's something that you can download. It's free. It has like a blue logo that's like this like crossing over thingy. And yeah, it also basically does the same thing over here. Anywho, I'm going to just remove all this. Visual Studio, yep. And you will need live server. I think that's like a plugin. Like a plugin for that program. Anywho. Let's just delete everything. I'm gonna do all this from scratch. So And I want a border, so I'll put border. And so the tags for border are how big the border will be, 3px, what kind of border you like. You could find a list of like border stuff, but here I'll show like the different kinds of border, right? Solid. So solid will give you something like this. You could also use dotted, which is like that, or dashed, which looks like that. Or there's also double, which looks like this. Let's just go with solid for now. And then you can input the color, which is I'll choose indigo. And okay, you saw earlier that my card had an outline, so I'll just put like outline. Outline, which is like 10px lavender. Okay, 10px solid. Basically, the outline stuff is the same as the border stuff. And like, as you can see with the link down there, everything is stuck to each other. So I'll just put padding. Padding, maybe like 5px. You can use M. Like, M is unit which is relative to font sizes and stuff, but I don't really know much about how to use it. So let's... Also, I'm more comfy using pixel values anyway. I think I want more. 20. Okay, so let's format all the other stuff. I want all the text to have the same color, so I'll just put the color in the card division. So I want to format the rest of the text. Let's format the header. So remember the default HTML stuff that I mentioned earlier? The H1 tag automatically applies a margin to your text. So I'll just remove that margin. Something like this. Maybe I'll add more. Or I'll just remove the top because it actually looks kind of okay. Oops, forgot the semicolon. You can put like the directional stuff like top, bottom if you want to adjust it by size. If you want to, I mean if you want to adjust it by side, not size. Sorry, misspoke. Okay, let's make like 5px. Alright, there we go. And I could change the font, but I'd rather just keep the font as it is for now. So font, wait, I had the divider here. So I'll add the divider tag to the HTML. You can also customize it, but I won't go too much into it. So I'm just trying to remember what I did. Set width. You can set the width of the divider to anything like something like that. So if I put 5, maybe 300px. If I put 300px, it's gonna be shorter. And then like this. Height here you can set like the thickness of it, like 3px. Wait, I put 30px. Too thick. There we go. So here is like the most basic. Wait, I want to show you guys something. You want to make the picture round. There's only one picture, so I could just use the image tag. If you want to put like if you want to make like edit only pictures within a certain class or ID, so you put like class, and so you put like class and then image. So since we have the class card, put card. But there's only one picture, so we don't need that for this one. So if you want to make your picture round, you can put border radius. You put border radius 50% and it makes your picture round. Wow, ain't that crazy? And if you want to add like an actual border, this. Wait, I want the double border. I want this thicker too. And I want the image to be a bit smaller. So yeah, just add like, yeah. You can use percentages. Percentages are pixel values. Let's just go with pixel values, whatever. Here's the basic card. And I want to add a background picture, so I'll add one. I'll use one of my CD backgrounds. So if I want to put an image as my background, I put background image URL. Wait, I forgot the dash. URL, and then you put the link here. And there we are. Isn't that cool? Can you put a moving image as a background? I believe you can. Like a lot of the older websites of back in the day were just like memes. They were like memes with this kind of like a background image that would tile on itself, and then just multiple spinning horses as background. You could do that. Wait, let me look for a gif of a spinning horse. There, see? So, I want some different fonts on here. So let me just get the Google fonts. Let me go to Google and grab some fresh fonts. Already have let's use an import. So if you click import, they'll give you something that you can copy and paste into your HTML or CSS. So on the top of your CSS, you can import some fonts like this. Okay, I'll change the font of the header. Font family. What's it called? Cherry Bomb 1. There, isn't that cool? But it's too thick, so I just set the font weight to normal. And then for the other text, font family, I'll put the other one that I imported. There we go. And then for the link didn't change fonts because it's not part of the paragraph, so I'll just change that. Okay, that didn't work, so I'll just redo that. You'll probably need like a separate place for. So if you want to edit links, you put A. Wait, no, I copy pasted the wrong thing. Yeah, there, now it's changed. Now I changed the font. You can also change like the color. If you want to remove the underline text decoration. Set text decoration to none. And if you want to change the color, I won't change the color right now, but you can. Wait, I forgot the name of that. I forgot the name of the color. It was something like medium purple. Actually, I think this color would suit the border, the divider better. Alright, so here's what I've made. I'm sorry if I am being extremely confusing right now, but that's just it, yeah? So yeah, even just with basic code, you can make something pretty nice. But I want the text to be bigger. I'll change it. like 60 px. Okay, that's a bit big. Alright, that's better. So, to add the shadow, if I want to add the shadow to the back of the card, if you saw my previous thing had... My previous thing had like shadows. I'll use the tag box shadow. So this is like where you grow it. I want this shadow to be large. Oh, that's too much. If you remember from earlier, what these values mean is like vertical offset, horizontal offset, how much you want it to blur, how big you want it to be. Maybe I'll put like, maybe not quite that blurred, 5px. If you want to make like a text glowing effect over here, I'll do it now. Color, white, and then text shadow. I'll just enter in all those shadow values. But text shadow doesn't support the grow effect. So yeah, don't enter this one. So this is how you make the text glow. Ooh, isn't that cool? You can also apply like different text shadows to do maybe like a chromatic aberration effect, but I don't want to get into that right now. This is just like something pretty basic that you can do. And that's the end of the lesson. Yay, thank you! Thank you for listening to me and for allowing me to explain this stuff. Hopefully I didn't combust your brains too much.